Hello, and welcome to Tales for Life. In each episode of this podcast, we'll explore a folk or fairy tale from a different culture or region and discover the life lessons, values, and morals they offer that we can use today. Join me on the journey through the magical and meaningful world of folk and fairy tales. Hello, and welcome back to Tales for Life, the podcast that journeys through life one tale at a time, where timeless stories meet everyday wisdom. I'm glad you're here. If you enjoy these stories and reflections, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Today's story is one I think you'll really enjoy. It's about creativity, courage, and the quiet power of doing things differently. This episode is called, If You Want Different Results, Do Different Things. The well-worn path is comforting. It's familiar, paved with tradition, and lined with the footsteps of those who came before. It promises safety, predictability, and just enough reward to keep you walking. But it's also a trap. Because if you follow the same road as everyone else, you'll likely end up in the same place. And sometimes, that place isn't where you truly want to be. If you dream of something more, of reaching new places, creating something fresh, or achieving what others haven't, you'll need to do something different. It doesn't mean abandoning everything. Often, the journey begins on the same path as everyone else, but at some point, it must veer off. It takes a moment of courage, a spark of curiosity, and a willingness to be misunderstood. Our story today takes us to the misty valleys of Jiangnan, a region known for its artistry and tradition. There, a quiet wanderer arrives in a village where everyone does things the same way, and where no one dares to do otherwise. What follows is a gentle reminder that change doesn't always roar. It sometimes begins with a single, curious step. This is The Porcelain Wanderer. In the mist-veiled valleys of Jiangnan, where cranes trace slow circles in the morning sky, there was a village known for its porcelain. Fine bowls, delicate vases, and teacups that sang when tapped. Every morning the market filled with sellers laying out their wares, each piece nearly identical to the next. White glaze, blue patterns, the same shapes passed down for generations. One day a stranger arrived. He wore a plain robe and carried no cart, no bundles, just a quiet gaze and a curious mind. He wandered the market slowly, pausing at each stall, watching how the sellers spoke, how the buyers bargained, how the porcelain gleamed in the sun. He saw that every seller used the same clay, the same kiln, the same designs. Their earnings were steady, enough to feed their families and patch their roofs, but none seemed to thrive beyond that. The stranger nodded to himself and left the market. The next day he returned with clay and pigments no one had seen before. Deep greens, soft golds, and a red like autumn leaves. He shaped his porcelain differently. Bowls with fluted edges. Teacups that curved like flower petals. Vases that leaned slightly as if listening. The other sellers laughed. "Too strange," they said. "No one will buy what they don't recognize." But the villagers came. First out of curiosity, then with coin. They marveled at the colors, the shapes, the feeling that these pieces were telling stories of their own. The stranger's stall grew crowded. His earnings grew. He hired helpers. His shop expanded. The other sellers began to copy his designs. They used his colors, mimicked his shapes, even tried to speak with his quiet charm. Soon, the market was filled with imitations. One morning, the stranger closed his shop. He gave his tools to his helpers and walked away. He wandered the market again, slower this time. He stopped at the silk stalls, rows of fabric in familiar patterns, the same shades of blue and gold, the same weaves passed down like lullabies. He bought no silk, but he bought thread and dye and a loom. The silk makers paused their work. One by one, they gathered around him, waiting to see what he would do. It may seem like a simple story about porcelain, but it carries a message that reaches far beyond kilns and clay. It's a story for anyone who's ever felt stuck, anyone who's ever wondered if there might be another way. And like all good stories, it leaves us with a few truths worth sitting with. First, the well-worn path is tried and true. It's not likely to lead to failure, and for many, it offers just enough. But its very safety is its limit. When you do what's always been done, you'll get what's always been gotten. There's comfort in that, but rarely greatness. Second, it takes courage to do something different. People may not understand you. They may doubt you, dismiss you, or even laugh. But if you stay true to your vision, if you create with care and conviction, you'll begin to stand out. And when you do, people will notice. They'll come not just to see what you've made, but to see what you'll do next. So if you're feeling the pull towards something new, don't ignore it. You don't have to leap off the path entirely, but maybe it's time to take a turn. Trust your instincts, honor your curiosity, and remember, the extraordinary is never found in the middle of the road. Thanks for listening, and I hope you'll join me again next week for another episode of Tales for Life.